Hello, so this is my fourth chess video that I'm uploading to YouTube. It's from a recent tournament game I played in March of 2013. The time control was 2 hours per person, and it was against a master named Victor's Pupils. And I've wanted to play him since I was a young child. I finally got the opportunity. And a fun fact about him is that he's played Bobby Fischer before in a tournament game, and he actually won that game with the Latvian Gambit when he was around 20 and Fischer was a young 13-year-old. So, against Pupils, I played e4. He played the French defense. And I should also mention, this game's pretty fun to watch because in the middle of it, I get a nice attack going. And I'll let you guys see how I break through. So he's just playing good developing moves, getting some control towards the queen side. In the King's Indian attack, I get space on the king side and try to checkmate him, and in turn he gets space on the queen side and tries to maybe get some sort of pawn or positional advantage over there. Rook e1. With rook e1, I'm going to try to play e5, get some pawns on the dark squares, and maybe eventually bring my bishop and knights into an attack on the king side along the dark squares. He's fine with that. After rook e1, he plays b5 and continues his queenside plan. I get my queen to e2. I probably could have already played e5 if I'd wanted to. Bishop b7 develops a piece. It does not guard this e6 square anymore, though, so that's something I'm going to think about throughout the game. So now I play e5. It changes the pawn structure, but there's a purpose behind it. I want the dark squares. Knight e8. Sometimes they go to d7, but knight e8's better because now he can go to c7, b4, and d4 because his queen hasn't moved to c7. h4 looks like it weakens my king side. However, it does a couple things that are worth it. My knight from f1 gets a square on h2, then g4, and my bishop can eventually get traded off on g5, which would be good because this is his best defender, this dark squared bishop. So I want to trade that off so my knights and queen can come into the attack. After h4, he continues with his queenside play again, b4. My knight gets into the game almost. His knight gets to a better square, and although we say we shouldn't move the same piece twice in the opening, in the King's Indian attack, this is an exception. Because the knights really need to find ideal squares in order to get a better position. I played bishop f4, and I saw last move I could have played something like c3, knight b5, bishop d2, because I knew his knight was going to come to d4, but I decided to just wait until it was going to happen, and then I'd deal with it, because it wasn't that scary. It was worth continuing my attack, in my opinion. So I thought I was going to take with a knight, in which case I played queen d2, and my bishop was developed. But he took with a pawn. He decided to double his pawns to get some pressure on the c file if his rook ever comes to c8. So an interesting decision, one that I probably wasn't going to do if I had the black pieces in this. I bring my knight in, he brings his rook in, and I play queen d2. My idea is that I want my bishop to come to g5 and get traded off, as I mentioned, and now it's defended twice. Also, if the bishop gets traded off, he has to think about this b4 pawn. So he defends the b4 pawn, and his plan becomes more clear with a4 to a3. And if that b pawn ever moves, my b pawn, his knight's going to hop into c3, which will be really good for him. It's just going to be really far into my territory, guarding a lot of important squares. Just really hard to deal with. So after a5, I knew I had to continue my attack aggressively, so that didn't happen. I offer a trade of the bishops, and if he takes my bishop ever, which he does in a moment, I'm going to take with the pawn and double my pawns. So rook c7, his idea is going to be rook 8 to c8, doubling up on c2, trying to win it. I played rook e2. If I could do it again, I'd probably not do that. I'd probably somehow get my king up and swing my rook over and then defend the c-pawn with my a-rook. But this worked out. So he trades bishops. I was happy to see this. Now my knight's going to come to f6 at some point. I'm going to sacrifice a knight in order to get a near checkmate or a great attack. I think queen e7 was a mistake. Okay? My knight's going to come to f6. That's the idea. And after takes, his queen's going to have to move. It's attacked, and then I have checkmate almost. I'm about to checkmate him here. I didn't play this now because he's just going to scoot over. And now I have to deal with this knight. Now I have to figure out what to do. So he plays queen e7. And I decided before knight f6, it'd be really good if I had a rook on h1. Can you imagine if I had a rook here now? Now I play knight f6 check. It's really good for me. So I play bishop f3, preparing king g2, rook h1. When he doubles rooks, he probably thought I was going to trade the queen and pawn for 2 rooks. But I don't want to lose this pawn too. So I sacrifice this pawn for the attack. He sees now on knight f6 check, his queen will be attacked, so he triples up on the c file. That's fine. I bring my rook in as planned, and this is a critical moment for him. He tries to trade rooks and queens, because if I take, he'll recapture this queen, and then his queen will be hitting my queen, and I'll have to probably trade queens there. So instead of that, I check him and sacrifice a knight. And then when he trades rooks, hoping that I just take with my king, and then he'll play check, and the queens will have to get traded off, I hold off a move. I play check. He can't go here, it'll be checkmate. And I'm just going to keep checking him. I move him all the way from g8 to c5. And now rather than take the rook immediately, I play another check. There's one other critical line. He can go back here. I'm going to take e6 and play f7 and bishop g4. And it's going to be really hard for him to stop me coming in and mating him. Or getting a new queen. Maybe not in that order, but I'm definitely going to play good aggressive moves. I'm pretty sure that's winning. He didn't do that, he ran away. Check. And now he has to block it with his knight or he'll lose his queen. And I just play a slow move. I take his rook. He has to deal with this knight and it's pinned so he can't move it. He tries to trade queens. I don't allow that. And now we have a new type of position where a lot's been traded off. His kings ran all the way across the board. However, it's only a 1-point game. I'm only up 1 point from it. But I think more important than that is the position itself. I would be happy to be down a pawn or two on over here because of this past f7 and past e5. Past f6 and past e5 pawn. So I just play f7. My immediate threat is f8, and the only way he can stop it is checking me. And now his queen and rook both defend this square. Now he played a move that I could have taken more advantage of in a moment. He plays bishop c6, and I play e6. My idea is to block off his queen from this c file. He's going to play bishop a4, and if he does that, I want to be able to play something like queen d6. Check. And maybe eventually one day e7 and f8. So e6 is a good move. He plays queen f8, and I probably should have just taken the queen. I looked at this, and by the way, he was starting to run pretty low on time here, with like 5 to 10 minutes for a lot of his next moves, when I had like 20 minutes. And then e7, he should take. This isn't quite good for me, so I would have done this first. Instead of that, I would have played bishop h5 first. Now the line I was thinking about is something like d4 check, f3, a4. He's going to try to promote e7, takes, but b3 is covered now. And if he doesn't check me like that, he has to play something like a4 first, then play e7, takes, b3. Now my rook's getting attacked, but I can just take this pawn, and when he checks me, I can take his bishop. And that's something I didn't see in my analysis. I kind of missed I could take his bishop, and that's why I didn't go into that line. I thought he might be able to queen. So just a small side note, that would have been the easiest way to win the game. But I thought I could definitely win after queen f6, threatening e7. He plays queen d6 here. I played check, he brings his king back. Game's almost over. I bring my rook to e2, threatening e7. The rook's not too far from c2, so it'll be okay if he plays c2 here. He's running really low on time. So he stops the pawn from going forward and drops his pawn that he kind of needs. Check. Queen takes d5, check, and then he plays king to b6, I believe. Oh, I went one move too quick, I think. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. After bishop d5, he plays rook d8, pinning this. And then after bishop c6, because it's check, I can take it. And then he plays take c6, and now I actually come to c4 here. Yeah. So he can come to d6, but his king is just kind of getting attacked, so he decided to just go to b6. And now I decide to bring my rook into the game. I'm close to checkmating him here, or at least winning a lot more pawns. He plays a check, I block it, and now he's worried about rook b5, so he plays queen c6 to trade queens. And rather than just take the queen immediately, I play e7, which is a kind of cute move. He took my queen. I'm just dead one here. I have two pawns on the 7th rank. So takes, and then I check him. And when he blocks with his queen, I just take the queen because I'm about to win after I promote. He resigns. He resigns the move before I promote. So he resigns here. So that was my 4th chess video on YouTube. I hope you guys liked it. I thought the attack was kind of cool to play during the game and look back on. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them wherever you see this video. And yeah, hope you guys liked it. Thanks.